Oh, shit. Forgot my microphone, ladies and gentlemen. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Alrighty. Looks like I got Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram streaming. Let me double check TikTok. It looks like TikTok is streaming. All right, low computer performance to learn how to improve it. Yeah, whatever. Okay, since nobody is in here, I'm just going to start talking to myself and see. Just kind of learn, practice, have some fun tonight. So, to become a complete compounder is what we're talking about tonight. Learn how to build wealth and passive income by earning interest on 100% of your income, even after you spend it. Alrighty. Getting my chats up and running. I got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok streaming to all 4 platforms. Hello there, just scrolling. Alrighty. So I'm just going to get started here. My name is Dominic. I'm a life insurance agent. My company is called Heritage Life Solutions. My disclaimer is there at the bottom of the screen. This is not tax, legal, or investment advice. I'm going to be talking about concept today of becoming a complete compounder. So there's so much stuff going on, social media and everything nowadays that, and quite frankly, there's a lot of negativity, right? If anybody comes on here being negative, that's fine. If you disagree with what I have to say, or if it doesn't make sense for you, then that's fine. But if I get any negative comments, continuous negative comments, then I will be muting people and not engaging. But ultimately, I'm going to be discussing the concept of becoming a complete compounder. Alrighty. So as you're watching, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. My name is Dominic, and I'm on a mission to help you build one passive income by earning interest on 100% of your income even after you spend it. Let me go ahead and check over to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Type it in, and I'll be happy to explain. But let's get started here. So what I'm talking about tonight is a twist on a concept that's been around for a very long time. Okay, and we call it the complete compounder. Okay, so really, what the traditional path of spending looks like this. Okay, so income comes in. So this is after tax income comes into your household. Then you pay your expenses, and if you're fortunate enough to have anything left over at the end of the month, the remaining is saved. Okay, so that's the traditional path of spending. The compounder's path looks a little different. And the compounder's path, when the money comes in, it's invested into assets, and then using those assets, borrow against those assets to pay your expenses. So OPM other people's money to pay your expenses. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of what that might look like here. Again, if you have any questions, type them in the comments. So this example that I'm providing is, let me get to it here. Sorry. We're not in the leverage ratio just yet. Okay. So this is just an example of being a complete compounder. Well, this is not being a complete compounder. This is being a partial compounder. So let's just say for a moment that you are age 35 and your monthly mortgage payment is $2,500 a month, and you plan to pay that mortgage for the next 30 years. Okay. Your $2,500 moves from your bank to the mortgage company. And after those 30 years, your money is gone and your home is paid off. Okay. I might also add that this is a hypothetical situation and for educational purposes only. Okay. So what I'm proposing is a new way of thinking about how to do this. Okay. So instead of going directly from your bank to the mortgage company, what if we put your money into an asset and then paid the mortgage? Okay. Now, it's a little bit more complicated and nuanced than that, but this is just kind of breaking down a general concept. Okay. If we did that, right, we would, take about the money from your bank, and in the end, right, your house is still paid off in 30 years. Okay. But what that looks like is when you make a pit stop into, oh, sorry, hold on 1 second here. Sorry, I just got a message here. Okay. So I'm actually going to skip ahead here because all of this is kind of like the confusing information that can get lost in translation. So I'm just going to tell you what it really looks like here. Okay. So in this example, okay, and again, this is a hypothetical situation. These are not guaranteed results. Okay. But in this scenario, we're saying if you're 35 years old and you have a $2,500 monthly mortgage payment and you're expected to pay that for 30 years. Now, for the people that plan to pay off their mortgage early, you can still do that in this scenario. For the people that use, accelerated banking or that kind of stuff, you can still do that here. All right, this is just a general concept of paying your mortgage for 30 years. Sorry, I keep getting messages here. Okay, in this scenario, if you looked at this with an open mind and you said to yourself, well, hey, you know what? What if I took the money from my bank and put it into an asset first and then use the asset to borrow against to pay my mortgage? What would that look like? Well, this slide here would show you that in the end, after 30 years, your house is still paid off, but you could potentially create another $1 million asset in the meantime. And that asset has the potential to earn approximately, call it $8,500, almost $9,000 of tax-free retirement income every year for the rest of your life. Okay. So you can continue to pay your bank to the mortgage company, or you could look into what I'm talking about here. Your money goes into the bank, into the asset, and then pays the mortgage. Okay. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, please feel free to type them in the comments. Alrighty. So again, this is just a general concept about becoming a complete compounder. Ultimately, if you're able to, and I can kind of pull up the slide here, ultimately, if you're able to, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. I'm not used to doing this. Let me just switch gears for a second here. If you have questions or would like to discuss this further, feel free to text the word compound to 847-716-2388. You can schedule a call to discuss your situation. We can talk about, what you might be concerned about, your fears, your goals, your dreams, barriers to execution of this strategy, questions that you have. We can discuss in detail what the compounder strategy looks like. We can build your plan, get you your report, which explains, it's about a 15 or 16 page PDF report, which explains your numbers based on what we've kind of designed for you. And then if it makes sense, schedule a second call to discuss things further. Okay. Feel free to type in the comments if you have any questions about what I'm talking about here. And if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, the same. If you have any questions, type in the comments. What we're talking about today is becoming a complete compounder. This is a different twist on a concept that exists, right? Ultimately, the concept we're talking about is, infinite banking, be your own bank. There's a lot of different things, that it's called, but quite frankly, what is a complete compounder? A complete compounder is somebody who, when their money comes into their bank, they put that money into an asset, and then they use that asset to borrow against to pay their bills. So what it looks like is, if I can get to it, it looks like this here. So the traditional path of, the average everyday Joe, money comes in from your job or whatever source of income that you have. You pay your expenses and the remaining is saved, right? That's kind of how pretty much everybody does it, right? I'm proposing a new twist on a way, which is the compounder's path. So money comes in, and then that money is invested in assets, and then use those assets to pay your monthly expenses. And in doing so, your bills still get paid, but you're building a secondary asset that has an account value, and it has tax-free retirement income associated with it. Okay. I also just want to say here that, this is not an only strategy in terms of, me recommending that you do. I don't know who you are, what your goals are, thoughts, dreams, fears. I don't, anybody watching, I don't know anything about you at this point. This is to enhance what you're already doing for, retirement. So some people like Roth IRAs, index funds. There's so much to do. There's so many different ways to think about retirement. Becoming a complete compounder is a way to use your expenses, a way to capture compound interest on every dollar that comes into your household. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So if you would like to learn more, I'd be happy to explain in a one-on-one setting, and that would be just with me. My name is Dominic. My company is called Heritage Life Solutions. You can text the word compound to 847-716-2388. You'll get a link to my calendar to schedule a call. You could also just follow me and send me a DM. to be honest, my intention is to educate first and then figure out if this, could possibly be a scenario or a situation, a strategy that could help you, right? Again, this is not for everybody. Not everybody's going to qualify. Not everybody's going to be able to um, commit to this. This really does take a commitment to doing so. But the potential is insane, right? So in this example I'm putting up on my screen here, this is just a scenario where you change the way that you pay your mortgage. Okay, so or your rent if you don't own a home, right? Give me a second. I'm just going to check over to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Okay, no comments there. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot them in the comment section. I think there was a question that I might have missed. Forgive me. I'm not the best at doing this, going live. All right. Again, ultimately, we're talking about becoming a complete compounder. Not everybody can become a complete compounder right away. Sometimes you may have to kind of build up to it. That's why I have this on my screen here. This is just a scenario, a hypothetical scenario. If you were to be 35 years old, have a $2,500 monthly mortgage payment. In this scenario, and let me go back to it here, go back to the beginning. In this scenario, let's say your monthly mortgage payment is $2,500, and after 30 years, every time you spend that $2,500 to the mortgage company, your money is gone. But ultimately, at the end of 30 years, your home is paid off. So I'm just talking about a concept today. And again, this concept might not be for everybody, but for those that it is for, could be a game changer in your life and in your retirement savings. Okay. So in this scenario, I'm just proposing a different way to pay your mortgage, right? So money goes from your bank to an asset, and then using that asset, paying your mortgage. Okay. So in the end, right, your house is still paid off in 30 years. We're not doing anything different. Every single month you're paying your mortgage, right? This is just a different way to pay your mortgage. And ultimately, what it could potentially produce is, in this scenario, it could potentially produce an additional asset worth about $1 million of account value and about $100,000 of tax-free retirement income per year, just by switching the way that you pay your bills. Okay. Again, my name is Digital Life Solutions. If you want to connect me further, text the word compound to 847-716-2388. Again, that's Dominic Franchi. Text the word compound to 847-716-2388. What we would do on our one-on-one meeting, let me just share with you here. Schedule a call to discuss your situation. We can discuss, anything that you want about the scenario, about your retirement, your goals, your dreams, potential barriers to implementing this strategy, questions that you have. Discuss the strategy in great detail. I'll provide anybody that I sit down with, I'll provide a 16-page PDF which explains your specific numbers, what your plan looks like, so you can review the the potential outcomes, hurdles, everything about the strategy. Okay. And then if it makes sense, feel free to schedule a second call to discuss more or implement your strategy. But ultimately, what I'm talking about today is becoming a complete compounder, which is just a different way of paying your monthly bills. By, instead of the money going from your bank account directly to pay your bills, your money can go into an asset and then use the asset to borrow against to pay your bills. So in the scenario here that I've provided is a mortgage scenario. Okay. So I'm just kind of checking my text messages here. There's other scenarios that this could work. It doesn't have to be a mortgage, right? It could be anything, any bills or expenses. Ultimately, it's all of your bills and expenses, right? For example, a complete compounder could look like this. right? So let's say that somebody brings in $100,000 per year. $100,000 goes into the asset, and a loan against the asset to pay your annual expenses of 80,000, right? So you have your account value, your loan balance, and your available value. That's just what a complete compounder would look like. Okay. Let's look at it a different way, because when we're talking about retirement planning, and keep in mind, this is not tax, legal, or investment advice. Another scenario would be, because I know a lot of people use a Roth IRA for retirement, right? There's a lot of people here on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, all these social media channels that talk about their product, their service. Everybody on here is trying to sell you something, right? I make money when you become a client of mine. Quite honestly, I make money when I can help you solve a problem, right? So if I haven't demonstrated that I can solve your problem, which the problem that I'm trying to solve is to help you create more spendable income in retirement. So if you don't feel like I could help you with that, if this strategy could not help you with that, then you're just gonna, move along, scroll on, not reach out to me, and that's fine. Again, this is not for everybody. This is not an only strategy. I'm not saying that you should only do this and you'll be fine. This is to enhance what you're currently doing. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm not used to going live, so I'm just going to kind of look in the comments here, see if I missed anything. Does this create more wealth? Yes, this does. If you just paid money from bank to your mortgage account, everything that you've paid to the mortgage is gone, right? So I'm proposing the possibility of putting the money from your bank into an asset, right? And that asset's going to appreciate in value over time, and then use that asset to pay your mortgage. Or in this scenario, I ran the numbers on what most young people are doing nowadays, which is a Roth IRA, right? I am not an investment advisor, so if you want to invest in a Roth IRA, I cannot help you with that. Quite honestly, it's very simple. All you have to do is go ahead and go to like any of the big, investment websites, create an account, and open up a Roth IRA. Then you just got to select, what investments you want to put in there. Again, I'm not an investment advisor, but most young people nowadays are just buying index funds because they're low cost. And quite honestly, a lot of the mutual fund managers don't really outperform the market anyway. So why pay all those extra fees to a financial advisor or a mutual fund company when you can just buy the market, right? Alrighty. Okay, so let me get a sip of water here. So you might say, hey, Dominic, actually, I'm happy with my Roth IRA, and I don't want to do anything differently. And you don't have to do anything differently. If you want to continue funding your Roth IRA, please do so. Your Roth IRA is going to get you tax-free retirement income, without excess penalties after the age of 59 and a half. Most young people are doing their best to put as much as they can or maxing out the Roth IRA, which again, in this scenario, I think in 2024, the max is like 7,000 a year. So that's what I did in this. That's what I did in this example. Okay. Alrighty. So let's talk about it here. So scenario here is that let's pretend we have somebody who's 30 years old, and they're putting $7,000 in their Roth IRA until they're age 65. So what does that look like? Okay. All right. So after your 7,000 leaves your bank, that money is gone. However, the projected results, and again, these are projections from an investment calculator online, okay? And I used a 10% average rate of return because if you Google average return for the S&P 500, it's going to be somewhere around 9 to 11%, depending on which 25 or 50-year period of time you're using. So I just plug these numbers into, and you can do the same. You can plug these numbers into an investment calculator. From age 30 to age 65, if you put $7,000 a year into an account that's growing on average 10%, that account has a projected account value of 1.5 plus million dollars. And according to the industry standard 4% rule, that should produce or could produce an approximate $63,000 a year, or about $5,000, give or take, $5,000 per month in tax-free retirement income. So again, this example is a 30-year-old saving $7,000 a year for the next 35 years. You may want to retire early, and that's fine, but this is just a general example, okay? All right. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments. I'll be happy to kind of go through things a little bit further. Again, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, type in the comments. I got two systems going on here, one over here and one for TikTok. All right. So in this scenario, if you were already funding your Roth IRA, let me switch back. We're on mortgage. I'm going to go back to Roth. Okay. What I'm proposing is the possibility of doing it a little bit different. Instead of just having your monthly payment from your bank to the Roth IRA, or instead of just writing a check, a one-time check of $7,000 to your Roth IRA, what I'm proposing is a different way of doing things. Okay. And again, this is a hypothetical situation for educational purpose only. These are projections, not guaranteed. Using retirement calculators and different calculators, okay? So if you were to put that money from your bank into an asset, okay, and then borrow against that asset to fund your Roth IRA. So a small change of how you do your bills, right? How you fund your Roth IRA. You could potentially create an additional asset worth north of $400,000 with a projected $40,000 plus of tax-free retirement income. So an additional $3,400 per month projected. Okay. So if you were to fund your Roth IRA by itself, that's projected to provide you in the neighborhood of $5,000 per month. But by the way that I'm proposing, that asset that we put the money into could produce an additional $3,000 per month. So if you want to learn more about how we do this, text the word compound to 847-716-2388. Again, that's 847-716-2388. My name is Dominic. Any questions, feel free to type them in the comments. If you understand what I'm saying, if you think what I'm saying is complete malarkey, type in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. So if you want to learn, and quite honestly, I put this slide up here. The truth is there are many ways to get from A to B. A being, where you're currently at with your retirement planning, and B, where you would like to be with your retirement. I'm not saying that the compounder strategy is the only thing that you should do, but it could potentially enhance what you're currently doing. Okay. So if you want to learn more, text the word compound to 847-716-2388. You'll get a link to schedule a call with me to discuss your situation. My name is Dominic. I'm an independent life insurance agent. You won't talk to anybody else but me. I won't pass your name and phone number off to anybody else. You will talk to me directly. So you may be watching this and you like, how I'm presenting myself. You may think that I'm a total, I'm not going to say it, but that's up to you, right? So we live in a free country, and you can decide whether or not you want to, have a conversation with me about your retirement. I am not an investment advisor, but this complete compounder strategy could be a game changer for those people that decide to look into it, right? So again, you can text the word compound to 847-716-2388 to schedule a call with me. We can discuss your situation, your fears, concerns, goals, dreams, barriers, any questions that you have. We can review in detail what the compounder strategy is. We can build your plan and get you a 16-page PDF report. And then if it makes sense, you can schedule a second call to discuss more, to ask additional questions or implement your strategy. Okay. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about tonight. The complete compounder. Hey, Mama Teacher Life, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. All right. So again, the traditional path of everyday Americans, right, is for money to come into the household, expenses go out, and whatever is left over, the remaining is saved, right? And quite honestly, I know a lot of people are feeling the crunch right now with the cost of gas and groceries being so much, right? Usually at the end of the day, there's not a lot left over to save, right? So for the average person, the thought of saving $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 a month for retirement or to play catch up with retirement is daunting. Okay. This strategy can achieve more with less. And the reason is because we're earning compound interest on the expenses that you already have. So the compounder's path looks like this. The money comes in, those dollars are invested into an asset, and we use that asset to borrow against to pay the expenses. Okay, are you guys following me on that? Type a 1 in the comment if that makes sense. John Lampros, is that the John Lampros that's from Glenview, Illinois? John Lampros, if that's you from Glenview, Illinois, let me know. So again, just kind of going through it, becoming a complete compounder is not going to happen overnight. Most people, a lot of people won't ever achieve complete compounding status. And to become a complete compounder means that every dollar that you bring in is invested into an asset, and then use that asset to pay your bills, right? It's not a likely scenario for everybody, right? But you don't have to become a complete compounder. You can become a partial compounder. That's why I have scenarios where that I'm sharing tonight, which discuss the possibility of using this strategy to fund your Roth IRA, using this strategy to pay your mortgage, right? Using this strategy to pay your car payment, right? I know car payments are at all-time highs. I need to get a new car soon, and I'm looking at the cost of a brand new, minivan for my family is going to be like $50,000. The car payment's going to be like $1,000 a month, right? So if I did this with my car payment, that $1,000 has to go to the lender anyway, right? So I'm just proposing that the money go from my bank account to the asset, then to the lender, right? So putting the money into an appreciating asset, right? Asset to pay the car. All right. Again, if you have any questions, type them in the comments. My name is Dominic. I'm an independent life insurance agent. I don't go live very often. I'm trying to get used to it. So if you think I suck at going live and I'm not explaining my concept very well, type a 7 in the comment. If you think I suck, then type a 7 in the comment. If you think I'm decent at explaining this, type a 5. And if you think I'm doing a good job, type a 1. I'm just kind of curious for some feedback. So 1 if I'm good, 5 if I'm decent, 7 if I suck. This is like, I've gone live a few times. I'm trying to get used to it. It's a little weird. I got a light in my face. I'm using TikTok Studio, and I'm using Restream. It's a platform to stream on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So I'm streaming on 4 platforms right now. So give me some feedback if you think that just on me in general, right? Like, how do I look? How do I sound? Is this normal? And then the concept, right? Becoming a complete compounder. Yeah. All right. Mr. Bitcoin Hunter. All right. Mr. Bitcoin Hunter. Want to share anything about Bitcoin nowadays? I don't really keep up on the Bitcoin stuff. I do know that a lot of the younger generation, and by that I'm 44 years old, so when I say younger generation, I'm thinking like 20 to 35. I think a lot of the young people are enamored by Bitcoin and all these different coins. I don't know much about them. Quite honestly, I just know a lot of people that have lost a ton of money. I had a buddy who I think he like made like $500,000 in some coin. I mean, it was like, I don't know what it was, but he made a bunch of money. And then I checked with him like 6 months later, and the 500,000 that he made was like, he lost like 400,000 after that, but he was still up, right? So again, I don't know much about Bitcoin. I just saw somebody named Mr. Bitcoin Hunter join the live. So I don't know. Give me your thoughts on Bitcoin. Who has Bitcoin? Is it, what do you think Bitcoin is going to do, or on any other coins? I feel like it's probably a good investment if you don't put all of your money in there, right? So maybe like, somebody could put, 5 or 10% of their money into Bitcoin, and maybe that would be. I kind of feel like that's like that's gambling though, like Hail Mary, like, hey, put $100 a month into Bitcoin, and maybe one of the coins that you choose is going to turn into something crazy. I don't know. Anybody watching the live invest in Bitcoin? Have Bitcoin? Want to share their experience with Bitcoin? Feel free to chime in. I'm just kind of curious. I don't personally own any Bitcoin. I'm not recommending it. I'm just curious if anybody on here does. All right, I got a little bit more time here, guys. I do have to make sure that my daughter comes home. So just bear with me for a second here. I'm just going to send a text. Okay. All right, getting back to the task at hand, talking today about becoming a complete compounder. Now, the traditional path for the average Joe, when money comes in, when money comes in the household, sorry, here I'm just going to get up to. Oh, that's right, I'm on this one. I need to go here. So I'm just getting my slides correct. Okay. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, do you see the slide that says Compounder's Path? If you do, type a 1 in the comments. If you're on TikTok and you see Compounder's Path on the screen, would you mind just typing a 1 in the comments? I think I got it right. Okay, so again, becoming a complete compounder, the way that most people, the household does is this here. So money comes in, expenses go out, the remaining is saved. Usually it's not that much. A compounder's path, when the money comes in, those dollars are invested in assets and then borrowing against those assets to pay your expenses. That's what becoming a compounder looks like. Okay. The truth is there are many ways to get from A to B. We're talking about really ultimately what this is about is generating more tax-free spendable retirement income for you in retirement. Okay. If that subject and what I'm talking about tonight makes sense for you, text the word compound to 847-716-2388. Again, this is not an only strategy. I'm not saying that you should do this alone and it will change your life. Most people have a lot of different retirement strategies, things they're doing. IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, index funds, real estate, Bitcoin, whatever you want to talk about. This is becoming a compounder is learning how to earn compound interest on every dollar that comes into your household, even after you spend it. This strategy is to enhance what you're currently doing. It is not for everyone. Not everybody's going to understand it. Not everybody's going to qualify for it. Not everyone's going to like it, right? But for those that do understand, qualify, and like it, you could produce extra tax-free spendable income by implementing this strategy. Okay, by using dollars that you're already using to pay your monthly bills. So if you want to learn more, you can text the word compound to 847-716-2388. You can schedule a call to discuss your situation with me. That would be with me directly. So I don't pass your information on to anybody else. Sorry here. I don't pass your information on to anybody else. If you send me a direct message, if you follow me, I follow you back, send a direct message, have a conversation, it's going to be me. You're not going to meet with, a random person. I'm not going to pass you off and sell your information anywhere. Scheduling a call is with me. What that looks like, we'll discuss the compounder strategy. We'll discuss your thoughts, your fears, your concerns, your goals, your dreams, questions that you have. We'll build your plan and we'll get you a 16-page PDF report about what it looks like and how to implement it, what your results are projected to look like, right? These results are not guaranteed, but they're based on historical data. They're based on illustrations and calculators. We can get into all the details in the one-on-one meeting. If you are in compliance, there's a disclaimer here at the bottom, which explains pretty much everything. And again, if this makes sense for you, after we have that initial call, you might want to schedule a second call to discuss more, discuss about implementing your plan. So yeah, again, this is not for everybody. This is for people who want to learn and educate themselves on a way to create wealth and passive income by earning compound interest on every dollar that comes into your household, right? That may sound crazy, but it's possible, right? It's actually not very hard either. It's just once you understand the concept and how we're doing what we're doing, then it could produce tax-free spendable income on dollars that are already leaving your household to pay your bills. So I have a couple examples. I might as well get back to the examples here. I got about 10 more minutes for those that are watching. So again, this scenario that I just put up on the screen here is, what if you were to change the way that you paid your mortgage? And again, there's a lot more to it in terms of how to do this, implementation, funding. So this is just a hypothetical situation for educational purposes only. This does not contain every little detail of how this works. That's what the one-on-one is for. That's the conversation that we could have with you or with you and your spouse. But ultimately, this scenario, ultimately this scenario is, what if your mortgage payment was $2,500 a month? Let's just say you bought a house yesterday and you have 30 years worth of payments, and your monthly mortgage payment is $2,500 a month. Okay. Normally what you do, your $2,500 goes from your bank to the mortgage company. And at the end of the 30 years, your money is gone, but your house is paid off. Okay. That's really, I know in doing this for as long as I have, logic and all the fancy stuff about retirement and saving, what I've learned is people care less about what's in their bank or what's in their retirement account than they do their house being paid off. I've seen so many people want to pay off their house faster than fund their retirement faster, right? And that just, I think ultimately what I've kind of learned from that is, if you think about it, like if you have a mortgage payment right now, how great would it be if you didn't have a mortgage payment? And I get it, right? If I didn't have a mortgage payment right now, I would love it, right? But I do. This scenario that I'm discussing is just a general hypothetical scenario of you having a 30-year mortgage and paying it for 30 years. Okay. So at the end of 30 years, your house is paid off. What I'm proposing is a new way, a different twist on an old concept. Okay. Of how you could put your money from your bank into an asset and then use the asset to borrow against to pay your mortgage. Okay. And at the end of 30 years, your house is still paid off. Okay. So for those that are on here that think there's anything, different going on, there isn't. 30 years, your house is still paid off. What I'm proposing is a different way to pay your mortgage by using an asset in between. Now, this asset can be anything. This asset could be another house. It could be an index universal life policy. It could be a business, right? But I use an index universal life policy because it has tax deferred, tax advantage growth, 0% floor, and guaranteed loans, right? And that's something that we can get into further. But the concept we're talking about is using your money to buy an asset to pay your mortgage, right? And in this scenario, if you're 35 years old and you pay a mortgage for 30 years, by doing this strategy, you could potentially accumulate $1 million asset that would not have existed if you didn't do this. And at about a 10% annual usage, that's about $100,000 a year tax-free retirement income, and which is about $8,600 per month tax-free spendable retirement income. So if you want to learn how to pay your mortgage a little bit differently and create an asset, text me the word compound to 847-716-2388. Again, my name is Dominic Franchi. Text the word compound to 847-716-2388. I do have a calculator that we can put your numbers into. So your age, your expected retirement age, the annual cost of the expense that you're looking to compound. So a lot of people choose to do their mortgage because it's a reasonable amount, right? So their mortgage is $30,000 a year. How could we capture $30,000 a year of compound interest on money that was already going to leave your home, right? So that's what we're talking about here. If this is interesting but confusing, text the word compound to 847-716-2388, and let's have a conversation. We could talk for 5 or 10 minutes, or we can talk for up to 60. But ultimately, what do you have to lose at this point, right? If you're already paying your mortgage, if you're already funding your Roth IRA, if you're already paying your car payment, cell phone payment, gas, electric, groceries, money is already leaving your account, okay? I'm proposing a way for you to capture compound interest on money that was already planned to be spent. So your bank account to the grocery store, your bank account to the car lender, your bank account to the Roth IRA, your bank account to the mortgage company. All I'm saying is, what if we did it a different way? What if we did it the compounders way? What if we did it from your bank to an asset to the mortgage company? What could that potentially produce, right? In this scenario, with a $2,500 monthly mortgage payment, it could potentially produce another asset of up to $1 million in value, $100,000 tax-free spendable retirement income, $8,000 per month of tax-free spendable income. Again, these are not guaranteed results. This is a hypothetical situation. Read the disclaimer down below. But ultimately, we can discuss in greater detail in a one-on-one meeting. My name is Dominic. You can text the word compound to 847-716-2388. I got a few more minutes left, so if you've been watching and you have questions, please ask now, because I'm not guaranteed to be on here much longer. I got to make some dinner for my kiddos. I'm getting messages from other people. All right. If you have any questions here in the comments, any questions, type them in the comments. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, I'm going to be shutting this stream off here pretty soon. Same with TikTok. I'm streaming on 4 different platforms. My name is Dominic. My company is called Heritage Solutions. I'm an independent life insurance agent. Read the disclaimer at the bottom of the screen here. This is not intended to be tax, legal, or investment advice. What I'm talking about is a strategy that you could utilize to capture common interest on your expenses. Most people, in order for them to save for retirement or catch up on retirement, they have to save, $1,000 a month. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm 44 years old. In order to make a dent, you might have to save $1,000 or $2,000 a month. If you do it the compounders way, you could generate compound interest on your expenses, money that's already leaving your bank account, right? So these are dollars that are earmarked to pay your mortgage, right? And again, there's a little bit more nuance and a little bit more detail involved, but ultimately, I'm just proposing a way for you to pay your mortgage in a different way. Instead of going from your bank to the mortgage company, making a pit stop in buying an asset that's accumulating value every year and borrowing against the asset to pay your mortgage. What you're doing is you'd be growing an asset, and by the time you're ready to retire, you could withdraw in the form of a loan approximately 8 to 11%. I think maybe 11 is a little aggressive. Approximately 10% of that asset value every year, right? So in this scenario here, with a $2,500 monthly mortgage payment for 30 years, your house is still paid off, and you've generated an asset worth up to $1 million, which is generating up to $100,000 a year tax-free spendable retirement income, right? More than $8,000 a month in tax-free spendable income. Right. And again, this isn't for everybody. You still have to qualify. You have to commit to it. You have to do it. So if you're watching this and this makes sense, text the word compound to 847-716-2388. All right, I got a few more minutes left. Actually, you know what? I do have to go. I have to go. So for those of you that have, tuned in tonight, thank you. My name is Dominic with Heritage Life Solutions. I hope you learned something today. I hope you watch me. Like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Forgive me, I am new to going live on the platform, so I may not be the best at explaining things. Bear with me. I'm just a human trying to do my best to explain a concept that I believe that could be a game changer. So again, if you've been watching and you want to learn more, text the word compound to 847-716-2388. You could also just follow me and send me a direct message if you have questions. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys have a good night.